Hey guys, Jacob here. As you guys know, it is August 10th, 2021, and this is going to be this week's vendor reset. This week, they are selling the test subject. If you guys don't have this, I'd highly recommend picking it up because this might be, in my opinion, one of the more useful assault rifles in the game because perfectly in sync or in sync in general can benefit your guys' skills and your weapon damage. And this one has damaged armor on it, and you can max out the assault rifle damage and then optimize the health damage or reverse depending on what you guys want to do, and you have a pretty solid weapon. I'm going to scroll through a few more items in case any of you guys want to pick this stuff up. But overall, that's pretty much all they're really selling at the front desk vendor. Now, since I'm outside, if you guys just go right under the helipad right here, you guys will see a sign that says Clan Quarters. Shout out to DoD, Disciples of Doom, and Kamikaze Von Doom. And if you guys go right through here, this is the Clan vendor. This week, he is selling the Artist tool. This almost has max rifle damage. So if you guys do need this, you could optimize the critical hit damage and change magazine size to something to your liking. But I'm going to scroll through from items. In case you guys need any of this stuff, I'd recommend picking it up. They are selling at max headshot damage if you guys do need that for a sniper build. And I'm also going to point out a few things if they are useful. A good example would be these going to your gloves. If you guys are trying to make an armor regen build or just a hazard build with triple blues, you guys could pick these up. I'm also going to point out for new players as well, if you guys are trying to make an AR build, you could use these Fender's knee pads if you're trying to just find something as a piece in the meantime. And I'm going to point out these 511 gloves if you guys are trying to make a max hazard build, which you guys can obviously make hazard builds with using stuff like mods and bleed resist and stuff like that. But if you want to go like full out hazard and want to get all the pieces like Seska and Y'all and 511, this is a great piece to start with. But that's about it for the Clan vendor. The next settlement we're going to be going to is going to be the theater. This week they are selling the boomstick. The stats on this are pretty low. None of them are max. But if you guys need this, I'd recommend grabbing it or just farm loot allocation areas to find a better one. I'm going to point out these Siska gloves, especially if you guys are new and just need a piece to standpoint in for a build. I recommend grabbing these. They are pretty low, but you can max out the weapon damage if you just want to use them in the meantime. Or the better idea for these would be grabbing the headshot damage and putting it into your stat library. But other than that, that's all they're really selling at the theater settlement. Next vendor is going to be at the campus settlement. This week they're selling the Commando, and the stats on this are pretty low, so I would not recommend picking this up. And at the same time, if you guys farm loot allocations, you probably have tons of these unless you guys are a new player. But if you do want it, then obviously I'd recommend picking it up, but it will cost you 15,000 credits. I'm going to scroll through a few more items in case any of you guys want to pick this stuff up. I am going to point out this Sombra holster, mostly for new players. Keep this in mind if you guys are trying to make a critical hit build / DPS build, and you guys are trying to find something in the meantime to work before you can find better pieces, then I'd recommend grabbing this. Next on the list is going to be the Dark Zones. Keep this in mind if you guys are new players, you'll need a different type of currency to buy these items, which are DZ resources. If you want to get DZ resources, you can extract gear by pretty much deconstructing items and turning them into resources, or opening little tiny boxes scattered around the Dark Zone. But the vendor this week, they are selling the Harmony. This one's actually not too bad. If you guys don't have this, I'd recommend grabbing it if you guys are in need of one, or you guys can farm loot allocation areas to find a better one. I'm going to scroll through a few more items in case you guys want to pick this stuff up and point out anything that is useful. I'm going to point out these Fender's gloves because they are, triple red. And if you guys need a triple red Fender's gloves, I'd highly recommend picking these up because I know a lot of you guys are trying to make all red DPS style builds, and you may not have an all red Fender's chest piece, so you might want to just use all red Fender's gloves. But other than that, that's all they're really selling this week.
Got the best stuff in
Next is going to be DZ South, and this week they're selling the TDI card custom. If you guys didn't have this and you're a huge skill build player, then I'd recommend grabbing this because just having this weapon equipped gives you one skill tier, and if you guys are trying to make a shield build, this gun might also be useful for you if you're using something like the Bulwark Shield or the Deflector. Let's scroll through a few more in case you need this stuff, but other than that, they're not really selling anything too crazy. I will point out a few items. One is going to be the triple stat Overlord Armament chest piece if you guys need triple reds for a Overlord piece. and the Protector Backpack for the armor regen and total armor if you guys are trying to use this for a armor regen build or just need the talent. But other than that, nothing too crazy at the Dark Zone South. Next is going to be DZ East, which this is the final Dark Zone on the list. This week they are selling the Wyvernware holster, which has repair skill, pistol damage, melee damage, which this is the claws out holster. So if you guys are trying to make a pistol build or melee damage build, I'd recommend grabbing this, or if you just want to have all the pieces for the named items. Scroll through a few more items in case any of you guys need this stuff, but other than that, they're not really selling anything too crazy. I will point out the max armor if you guys are trying to find a Bellstone Armory mask in Hazard and get rid of the status effect and put some like critical hit chance or armor regen, I'd recommend picking this up. But other than that, nothing too crazy at the DZ East vendor. And the final two stops on the list are going to be New York. This is going to be the front desk vendor, but keep this in mind, they do not sell any named items, just regular stuff. So if you guys need any of this stuff, then I'd recommend grabbing it. There are a few items I'm going to point out due to the max rolls. That's going to be this SRS with max marksman rifle damage if you guys need that. And obviously the max health on this Badger Tough backpack. But other than that, nothing too crazy, but if you guys need any of this stuff, I'd recommend grabbing it. Now if you go through the atrium right here and take a left, then go right to the green tent, and then just go straight right over here, and you will see Roy Benitez sitting here.
What can I do for you?
And this week, he's not really selling anything too crazy either, but if you guys need any of this stuff, I'd recommend grabbing it. But he's not really selling anything crazy. No max rolls, just basic gear. But if you guys need it, then grab it. But other than that, that's all they're really selling this week. Thanks all for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more Division 2 content, and I'll catch you guys all later.